What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Views from the Sideline. It's actually been pretty much forever since I done one of these. It's literally been
Too
four
long,
months.
too long.
It's been 4 months.
Oof,
And funnily enough, like an entire half of an NBA season has happened. And guess who I'm back with?
crazy.
Guess who I'm back with since my last episode?
Your boy Kamyar in the building. I got the Uno cards on deck with me. I literally can barely move. I'm exhausted. Leg day should be illegal, but here we are. The boy Ek asked me, "Hey, when the finals are over, you trying to hop on this pod?" I'm like, "Absolutely. When can I sign up?" And here we are.
All right, well, let's just get right into it. I just want to say
Let's
a
do it.
big congratulations to the Denver Nuggets for absolutely balling out this season. Like, actually just balling out. They took care of business,
Unreal.
beat everybody they needed to beat, did everything they needed to do, and they got a championship out of it. So, I mean, just like unreal job by the Nuggets, I would say, first of all.
Yeah, I'll be so real. This NBA season, I think just didn't feel real to me. Like clearly, all logic, all everything that was supposed to make sense made absolutely no sense. Everyone who thought was gonna win never ended up winning.
Yeah.
Any team you thought had momentum lost all the momentum,
Yeah.
and then got it back and then lost it again. This NBA season was one of the weirdest, most bizarre things I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I remember
Honestly.
literally. But everybody was saying after February, oh, it's the Suns, it's the Suns. Then it was the Lakers, then it was the Lakers, and then it was the Warriors after the first round. And it's like,
Like that's the thing. Like all this shows is, I think, I don't know what it is, and Ak, me and you, we gotta be the mediators, okay? Because I think we have to try our absolute best. As I'm holding these Uno cards in my hand, maybe we'll play around one of these days. I have to know, and I have to be better than sports media, because with sports media, it's this. It's got the highs. It's like, oh my God, overreaction after one game. Oh
yeah,
my God, everything is so clear. All this nonsense. Like, oh, dude, the Heat 3-0. Like, they must clearly, like, they're just going to destroy Boston. Then all of a sudden, they're on the ropes. If you let Boston win one, it's over. Like, it was the most overreactionary playoffs I think I've ever been a part of, and sports media has to get their shit together. To be honest with you,
wait, literally, I mean, literally the prime example of this was, I mean, it was all throughout the playoffs, but even the Nuggets won the championship yesterday. Nikola Jokic, he's going to be an all-time player, right? But the first ESPN segment I see this morning on First Take is Jokic the best big man of all time? Like, come on now.
like,
And
what are we doing? What are we doing here?
like he's great. He's gonna be up there. He's gonna be top five easily. But like, come on, like he won his first championship. Some of these guys have won like 11.
Yeah, yeah. Like, rest in peace to the man Bill Russell. But like, I just don't understand what it is. And I understand it's the business. I understand people are constantly
Yeah.
looking for what is gonna, shake up the stratosphere, what's gonna, cause the most disturbance among the people. And granted, I'm not even the most mad at like people already crowning Jokic as one of the greatest single-handedly gifted players, most impactful, best at making others better. I'm not even mad at that, but I'm like, dude, just got like we were talking about. Oh man, like Denver is one of those teams that'll never make it over the hump,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they just went and smacked everybody in the entire Western Conference, smacked Miami, and I was like, I don't know what to do.
No, literally. And it's just like, I don't know. It's never gonna end, okay? As long as you got your
It's
superstar,
never.
as long as you got your big market teams, those people are always gonna be like when those teams are playing well, they're gonna get their credit. And then when someone else is playing well, they're not gonna get as much credit. Like that's just how it works. But
It's unreal. It's unreal.
it's
So
all
so
right.
where should we start? Should we cover just this Nuggets run in general and just their performance in the finals? Like what? I didn't. I'll be real. Call me. Don't call me a casual because I'll fight you. But for those people, okay, anyone who said they've been watching in-depth Nuggets basketball, like respectfully get out of here. Like I don't want to hear it. I'm sure you've seen Jokic highlights. I'm sure you've seen crazy creative passes. That's all fine and good. But this was, I think, the majority of America's really first time watching this guy. And I knew I've seen Jokic on primetime before. But the stuff that was going on, it was infuriating almost. Like, because I was pulling for Miami. I wanted this 8 seed Cinderella story
Yeah.
to cap off with a title. And, Himmy Buckets, like, wow, we're going to get into him a little later. Very interesting playoff run from Himmy. But this Nikola Jokic dude, I've never seen someone have more impactful plays and control a literal minute by minute basketball game more than this since like LeBron at the height of his powers. Like I've never seen this before.
Wait, I swear, literally every play he makes either the right pass, the right read. Like he knows what to do in any situation. He's always so calm, so composed, and he gets it done in some way. You know what I mean?
Somehow,
He
yeah,
barely
exactly.
makes mistakes in
He's
general.
a wizard. Like this guy, low key, has somehow. Not even like BSing you right now. This guy races horses in the off season, and he's figured out basketball. And there's people like the greatest minds in the sport, right, are trying to dissect this thing of like, oh, trying to dissect defenses. Let me, work on this shot. Let me work these angles. Let me contort my body in this way. Let me find a new dribble combo move. Nah, forget that. Like this guy's figured it out. There is no one can pinpoint to a weakness in this guy's game, at least offensively. There is nothing I think he can't do, to be honest with you.
Wait, literally, he was so unstoppable this entire playoffs. Like, genuinely, nobody could stop him in any round. And I think that, I mean, I really watched him in the Western Conference Finals and then in the finals. And like, whatever they were throwing, okay, right, Lakers, right? They have Anthony Davis, like perennial all defense, all time defensive player, should have a defensive player of the year eventually. He could do nothing. Jokic was dropping 40, like he was raining those
Cooked,
behind the head threes, like it was nothing.
cooked. It was nothing. Like the thing is, and this is how I understand, right? Like flashback to I think Spoelstra in game 2, right? When he gets, poor Ramona Shelburne. To be fair, I don't even think she asked that heinous of a question at the press conference. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, are you trying to like make Jokic more of a passer so he doesn't get like the others as involved?"
Yeah.
But this guy, like, respectfully, like that was the one game. Well, outside of also game 5, but game 2 was really like, the Miami Heat like really took control. They shot the hell out of the ball. And she asked, like, hey, like, do you think Jokic, made him more of a passer? That's how you got to beat this team. And if I'm Spo, I'd be pissed too. If it's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, I understand his frustration. This guy dropped 40, what, 7 point, 40-point triple double. And you're like, yeah, just make him a passer, just make Jokic not beat
Mm.
you. It's like, he's going to beat you, like, he's going to do that every time.
I mean, literally, and I think the main difference between, this year and probably the last 3 years, obviously Jamal Murray's back, right? So that's
Oh,
like
of course, of
huge
course.
bonus. He was balling out.
Shout out, yo, Kitchener's finest, yo. Toronto, Ontario, the GTA, stand up. Always got to rep. Listen, as much as I hated him to win this finals, and as much as I was pulling for the Miami Heat, like I always got to rep these Canadian brothers. So
Yeah, it was
salute
a
to you,
great
Jamal Murray.
comeback story too. Like the story of him tearing, multiple injuries, multiple seasons missed, and then coming back and getting
Wow.
like literally getting better as the stakes got higher. Like he played better in the finals and in the Western Conference Finals than he did the entire season, right? And just being able to
Yeah.
it's just such a nice story, I would say. Such a nice story. And like to see him like
No,
crying and emotional during the like at the end during the trophy presentation, I was just so happy for him. I was above anything else.
no, absolutely. And I think like the same, like in the same sentiment, the same way that 2019, right, made an entire country rally behind an entire sports organization. And
Yeah.
I can guarantee you an entire country rallied behind that guy, Jamal Murray. I'll be real. I'll be so honest. Call me a capper. I didn't think he had it in him. Like I knew Jamal was good. I was listen. Like I saw this guy play. I knew he was what he was capable of. I didn't think that bubble stuff was a fluke.
Yeah.
I was like, he's coming back from injury. Like, he's not that guy. I underestimated his dog. That guy's dog is one of the highest I've ever seen ever. It's recorded today, top 10 dog in the entire association. Book it. That guy's insane. He made shots. I'm like, listen, he makes turnaround fades. Like pivot off of 1 foot falling away, net. There wouldn't even be rim, right? It was all nylon, and I'm like, dude, like, can you teach me, Loki?
Yeah,
Like,
he's
it's
so
incredible.
he's incredible. I mean, that's the entire Nuggets team. Like their offense has just been was incredible the whole playoff. I mean, through whole season, but then in the playoffs, like that was when everybody saw it. Like they were outscoring everyone. They never like no matter what the defense was throwing at them, they had a response game by game. They never really were in trouble in any series. Like the most they were in trouble was when Phoenix made it 2-1, and it was like, oh my god, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, they might do something. Like,
And that took everything, dude. That took everything. But not to listen. Maybe we could flash back to quick little jump back to the last pod. There might have been a guy who didn't believe in Phoenix whatsoever.
oh really?
You
Could
know,
you tell me
and,
who? Could
and
you tell me who that was? I can't remember. I need my
uh,
memory.
Louis, listen. All I know is he's a handsome looking fella. But regardless, dude, Phoenix fraud. I'm so glad Denver took care of him, low key, to be honest with you, because if this, I don't know what it is, maybe about this season, and I don't know if it's a changing of the guard that are maybe our superstars from as we've been watching the past whatever 8 to 10 years, they're kind of aging out,
Yeah.
and then you're left with these like there's a more, how can I say, like you have to now you have to go back to constructing a team. You have to go back to constructing a roster because it's not just like plug and play a bunch of players. You can't just put a bunch of stars on the team and expect it to work out, especially if they're like aging. You know what I mean? Like, granted, something like Phoenix, no injuries. Maybe if Chris Paul's there, but that dude's like older than dirt. And then like obviously Kevin Durant and Booker, like they're still whatever top 7 players in the entire association. That's all fine and good. Low key, Devin Booker, get your stuff together because I don't know. Listen, you've been skating free for a long time. Low key, that guy can do no wrong. He hasn't won jack. He's come up small in certain games. This whole Phoenix team, like, I don't want to make this a Phoenix show right now, but what the hell happened game 6?
Wait,
What happened?
literally, it was just like last year again in their elimination game, just crumbled completely. And yeah, you can blame it on
Like,
the
how do you,
coaching, but it's like I guarantee it's Devin Booker, it's Chris Paul, DeAndre, like that's a whole mess.
Nah. First of all, Aiton, I'm done with him. I don't want anything to do with DeAndre Ayton. I want him to flee. Maybe, listen, find another league, another team, another division. I don't care. Maybe basketball isn't your thing. You're too damn big. You're too damn skilled. You're literally the smallest big man energy I've ever seen for a man so huge. It's unreal. I've never seen someone so soft before. That's also 7 foot, 260 pounds. I've never seen him for my life. And yeah, there's no way you can blame coaching for losing by 44. How can you? How is that possible? If you were coaching me, right, and you're like, Kamyar, you got this, we prepped for this, and I'm going out, I'm maybe in a one-on-one tournament, I get 21 owed. That's on you, or is that on me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, let's think about
Especially
that.
since it was a repeat of last year also. Like literally last year,
Like, you, no.
like literally we remember last year, right? First half when Luca had 27 and Phoenix had 27. Like that was literally what happened. Like the stars for Phoenix have just failed to show out when they're needed most. Like, okay, wait, here's another thing. We do you remember, right? I think probably when it was 2-2, right? Devin Booker was literally having
Mm-hmm.
like the most efficient playoffs of anyone ever, or something like that. They were
No,
saying
the numbers didn't make any sense. But
like
I was seeing the numbers. I'm like, what do you mean he's shooting above 60%? Like, that's not possible.
and then
Like, that can't be
game
true.
5, game 6, complete duds gets eliminated.
That's the Devin Booker formula. All he does is he impresses you with these moments, right? Like, he's a perfect, like, okay, people would say, like, oh, how can you be down 0-2 and then be a front runner? Like, that's fine, right? But going back home to Phoenix, like winning 2 in a row and thinking you've done something. Listen up, pal. A wise man once said, a series never starts until a team wins on the road. That series didn't even start yet, and it was 4 games. You tied it up. You didn't do anything. Go out and win 2 more. You haven't done anything to this point.
Yeah. I mean,
And then everyone wants, pats on the backs and shaking hands and hugging, high five. And I'm like, bro, you're watching the playoffs. just like me at my couch.
Yeah, the Suns have so much to think about because honestly, here's my thing. I'm not saying it would have happened, but I'm saying it would have been really close. Kawhi doesn't get injured, that Clippers series is going somewhere. Like the Sun, I don't even know if the Suns are making it out of the first round there. Like,
Man, I mean, you think so? Like, I mean, as much as I want to like, because the thing is, man, that was like a lose-lose scenario for me. Because I was like, oh wow, we're talking Kevin Durant will advance to the second round, or the entire Clippers organization. It was literally if somehow both teams could have lost, that would have been the dream scenario for me. Alas, like one of them had to win. But I just don't believe, like, I don't know, even the Clippers, like, all these fraud franchises, right, who are investing so much in the players that, like, and I don't want to make this a thing about, oh, you're putting all your chips in a one basket for people who you can't rely on in terms of injury. And what's happened to Kawhi Leonard, like, I understand. There's even some, I don't know if we covered this the last episode, but there's developments about, his family and like his sister apparently on trial for murdering someone. Like it
yeah.
was an entire chaos and mess. And so I don't know. I just don't know where these franchises like they're not set up. You have aging superstars. Your team's not that deep. I don't know how you're gonna set up. It's not like you have like crazy high draft picks.
Wait,
And
literally,
so
it
I
just
don't
it
know.
just shows that once again, once again, the formula for winning is not just you grab some people from here, you make some mid-season trades, and you just put it all together, and oh my God, you're gonna win a championship. Because if you think about it, right, Nuggets, Nicole and Jokic and Jamal Murray have been the core for this team since what, 2018, probably. I would
At
say.
least, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Even
at
prior,
least.
probably.
I mean, the Warriors. We know about the Warriors, right?
We know about the Warriors.
We know about the Warriors. The Bucks, even, right? Giannis, they built around Giannis. Chris Middleton was there for 5 years. Drew Holiday, obviously, he was the final piece, but same point. Um, Lakers is a little bit different, but it's LeBron, AD. I feel that they're gonna win something. But same thing
Listen,
with the Raptors.
that entire thing, right? Like mentioning the Lakers really quick. It goes to show like you can have pieces, right? But at the end of the day, that team, I call I call the Lakers season. I split them up into two seasons. Okay, we have Lakers Z team, and we have the real Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah,
The G League squad that was starting off the season 2-10. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like it was some maddening basketball I had to witness. I was so pissed. It was fighting for the chance, not even to get above 500, for the chance to be 500.
yeah,
And that's a sad, sad thing to say. As a fan of a team, you're like, wow, we're trying to equal out the number of wins and losses. But that goes to show, right? Like roster building, putting in pieces that actually fit together, having people that can do multiple things, having people that can defend, having people that have size, can shoot. All these things matter into going into a team. And here's the thing: you also mentioned the Warriors. The Golden State Warriors have put this wool over people's eyes of like, oh, I can just go out and I can implant players into my system and it'll just work.
yeah,
Wrong. You can't do that. This whole Kevin Durant debacle that happened in San Francisco, the only reason that stuff worked is because that coaching staff, that system is unlike any in the entire association. I don't care what team you are not, you don't get the most out of your players. They cut the hardest, they shoot the best. They are, Steve Kerr is literally a genius. That coaching staff should deserve Nobel Peace Prizes. Like you can't just recreate what they've been trying to do. And for years, I'm so glad that they got eliminated finally because now people are like, hey, let's go back to playing actual basketball. Let's just not try and pick up as many stars as I can into one basket and just hope, oh yeah, I'm championship bound. It totally makes sense. I have no bench. I can shoot only sometimes. And I want to chuck up 55 threes a game. Like that's just not championship basketball. You don't make a roster like that.
yeah. Yeah, and we're gonna probably see something similar in this offseason. Where's Chris Paul gonna go? Where's I don't even know who else is gonna be on the move. Jalen Brown, where is Damian Lillard? All
Wow.
these guys are gonna be on the move or projected to be on the move. They're gonna go somewhere big, and then I I have a sneaking suspicion that just maybe the teams that these guys go on to will probably not win the championship. Just possibly.
Like that, and that's a great point, right? Like I'm glad you bring that up because I would love, right? Maybe even if we do like, next episode or like when we have like, free agency and like players moving around and all that stuff and big trades happening over the offseason.
Yeah.
I'd love to track from day one the success of every single team that landed like a big fish, right? Or this new piece that's gonna
Yeah.
like get them over the edge, right? I'd love to track every single team and everything that comes out of our mouths, like throughout the day to day of like, oh, they're looking really good. They might make it all the way, just to get clowned when next season ends, and we're like, yeah, so turns out they didn't win anything. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'd love to see where these guys land, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to talk about one thing about the Nuggets, then I want to get into the Heat. The Nuggets are
Sure.
going to get, I just know that this narrative is going to come about in a little bit. It's going to be, oh, they didn't have to face that many hard teams. They played a seventh seed, an eighth seed, and an eighth seed, and a fourth seed. And it was like, oh, they're expected to win all. Like, that's going to be the narrative very soon. And I just want that to not be the narrative. That just cannot. You know what I mean?
Nah, nah.
Like,
I think that's a great point you bring up on it. Oh, go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
because they beat everybody they needed to beat. These were the people that advanced to the rounds they got to, and they beat them. It was on the Grizzlies to beat the Lakers and make it further, right? It was on the Kings to beat the War, and all those things. All the teams that kind of were higher seeded, they didn't make it where they needed to be. The Nuggets were the only ones that consistently through each round, you know, beat the shit out of every team that they needed to and got to the next round, right? And so you can't discredit them for like
100%.
advancing against anyone, in my opinion.
No, I think I honestly that's a great point you bring up because I've never seen another thing about this NBA season. These playoffs, seeding, to hell with that shit. Like
Yeah,
I don't know what it was this year. I understand there was a lot of moving parts, especially trade deadline stuff. Like I said, Lakers G League team versus the actual Los Angeles Lakers. That was, night and day difference. They weren't a seventh seed. Even Phoenix, like yeah, I was never a believer in them. They added Kevin Durant. Obviously, on any given night, they both drop 40. You're cooked. You're done. And so that wasn't, they weren't a four seed either. But granted, like, if I even hear a peep, right, about like Nuggets this, Nuggets that, who do they really have to face? And like people will be like, from years back, they'll be like, let's look at this 2023 Nuggets playoff run. Who did they really have to beat? You shut the hell up, bro. Because it's not up to them that they took care of their entire business.
yeah.
Memphis, fraud. Okay, I don't want to hear that. Sacramento, as much as I wanted to light the beam, they stunk up the joint in game 7. They weren't ready. Okay, they were limited defensively. They had pieces, but when the three ball didn't go down, they're cooked. The Lakers, I shed many tears that series, so they were cooked as well. Like there was no team wire to wire, maybe outside of like, okay, if Bucks fans want to say like, man, you can't tell me fully healthy Giannis, like we're not giving them a run for their money, fine. Boston, I don't want to hear a peep out of you.
Yeah.
You're garbage. You're fraud. Please figure your stuff out. Blow up the team. I don't care what you do. But Denver was the only one wire to wire. Like these guys were cooking year in, like from the start of the season to the end, every single round. They didn't give a damn. They were constructed. They kill you on the boards. Second chance opportunities. They move the ball like nobody else, and they don't take that many threes.
Yeah.
But when they take them, splash. Like
Oh
outside of
yeah.
game 5, and they made them when they had to make them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
So
I don't want
that
to
just
hear
that just can't be a narrative for the Nuggets
that.
at
No.
all. They did everything right this whole season. You know, top seed, top offense. Someone who they had a top three MVP candidate. He probably should have won it. Looking back at it, I'm not gonna lie. If we include playoffs,
Yeah, what happened? What happened to that
you
MVP?
know,
Yeah,
Joel.
tired of these dudes, man. That's the thing. You brought up like we bring up Philly. Sorry to cut you off again. I just have so much over these past 4 months. I got to get off my chest.
Yeah.
Heck, I don't want to hear Philly being a contender ever again. If
No, not
anyone says that, I'm ripping away your basketball card. I'm shredding it. I'm recycling it. I'm throwing it in the dumpster. You don't deserve to have one. Call me when they go to the conference finals.
Not with Joel Embiid as their star player. Because here's what happens every time, right?
Not having it. Not having it.
What happens every time? Balls out regular season, gets injured first round, second round, and then once a defense starts to hone in, throw those double teams, he's done. He's done for. He
Coach,
literally just
coach.
doesn't. He's done. You saw that Game 7 performance. I didn't even know Joel Embiid was playing in that game.
Wow.
Okay, like come on, this is your
Dude
MVP,
was
the guy who averaged
so
like 33 points per game for the season, and he's dropping under 20 and you're in the most valuable game of the season. Like, yes, Doc Rivers doesn't make adjustments. Doc Rivers
Oh my
not
God.
that good a coach, but you're the MVP. You're telling me you can't back down Jason Tatum and score it? And come on.
Nah, like respectfully, act like riddle me this, right? Like if I worked at Chipotle, right, and I couldn't wrap a burrito, how would they continue? Like how would every think of like that Chipotle fires me, but then another Chipotle hires me, and I still, after all these years, all this crunch time, I still have yet to learn how to wrap a burrito properly when there's like a big ass line, it's pressure, it's rush hour.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers has yet to figure out how to coach. Like I'm convinced he doesn't actually know anything. I'm convinced that this guy is inept. I'm convinced that the moment is always too big for him. He's allergic to in-game adjustments. He's allergic to series adjustments. He he doesn't like stop the bleeding when the team's on a run. Like I've never seen someone get so many chances and get hired for a job that they don't actually know how to do. How's that possible?
Literally, I think what happens is this, okay? Doc Rivers won that championship with the Celtics, right? I mean, if we go back and think about that championship, there was so much star power on that team, right? You had Rondo, KG, Allen, Garnett, right? Or I mean Pierce, sorry. You had four basically all stars on that team. Won
You
the
had to try
championship.
and lose
You
for
had to
real.
try and lose that, right? And
You
so
had to.
naturally from then on, it's literally just been a cycle of these good teams have hired him and then he's like they've done well in the regular season because they are good teams with good, great players, all-star, all NBA caliber players. That's literally the only
Yeah,
reason that I think he succeeds because his teams are naturally
that's it.
just built from the beginning. He's hired by these organizations like, oh, we lost in the second round, we lost in the Western Conference Finals. He's gonna bring us over the top now. And then what happens? Literally
He's gonna bring you right under. Trust me. There's no like this guy's a dude. This guy is more analogous to a literal anchor, bro. Like, and he's not like anchoring like an anchor to team defense. He is literally dragging himself along while these superstars are trying to overcome Doc Rivers. How how good would you be if you had to overcome your coach? Like that's crazy to me.
I mean, literally think about who he had, right? He's had Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, all in their primes. He's had Kawhi and Paul George. That 2020, they were looking like they were going to win that, right? And then now who do you have? James Harden, Joel Embiid for multiple seasons. And what happened? Literally nothing.
Jack,
Literally nothing.
literally, Jack, like I've never listen. Doc Rivers, didn't he got rehired again, right? Or does he has a new job now?
Does he have a job
Or
already?
is he still on? I have no
No,
idea.
he's
To be
fired
honest,
from
I just
Philly.
know fired from Philly. He hasn't gotten picked up since, right? I heard he got interviews. Like I heard there's still teams telling themselves, you know what, that Doc Rivers guy, he could make us better. I'm like, how can you, like how do you still think that? How's that possible? Like, I don't. What am I missing? Like, tell me what I'm not seeing, because this guy stinks.
No, I literally just
Regardless.
see people must just look at the teams and then be like, oh wow, he must be doing something.
Oh, winning record. Yeah, yeah, this leads the whole whatever. First of all, I'm so tired of this coaching wins crap. Okay, like I understand like it's hard to win in this league. I understand it's hard to win as a coach. Like I understand that's you get attributed that record supposedly. And there's legitimate people on that list, right? Like you'll have Pop, damn, you'll have dude, Spo at this point. If you don't have Spolster in your top five all time, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Like that guy makes rags into literal riches. He will literally pick a potato off the ground and make it a 24 karat diamond. Like it's unreal what this guy does. He turns water into wine. He is Jesus. I fully believe Eric Spoelstra is Jesus. Thoughts on that?
Oh, with what he did, I guess we can just get into it. Might as well. With what he did with the Miami Heat this playoff run, I mean, he put him in
Ah,
my top five. He didn't even have to win the finals. Him getting to the
he didn't
finals,
have to.
certified. Like I was like,
Certified.
he's in the club. He's invited. He's up there.
No, that's the thing.
Think
Go
about
ahead, go
who
ahead.
he took to the finals, personnel wise, right? Just personnel wise. Think about that, right? Jimmy
Oh,
Butler was him. He was him during these playoffs. Yes, he was incredible. Bam Adebayo was pretty
for
consistent,
sure.
great second option. But think about the supporting cast after that, right? Think about everybody that was playing. It's all a combination of either low draft picks or undrafted players. Literally
Or
every.
Cody Zeller. Wow. Like, think about it, yo. Like, could you, like, I don't care what team you have. If your team has Cody Zeller playing impactful minutes, you think you're win? You think you're in the finals? Be for real.
No.
That guy took Zeller to the finals.
I mean,
Like, peep that for
no, I mean it's just incredible. It's actually incredible what he did with this team. Series after series too. And I mean he really tried. He tried in that game in the finals too. Nuggets too good. I mean, they're also they're just too good, but he did try. He wasn't just going out there and be like, "Hey, try your best, guys." He was making adjustments throughout. I mean, remember when he's after game 1, he started Kevin Love to add more size to the team, right? And I mean, it worked out for that game. It worked out for that game at least. So he was
no,
trying.
absolutely.
So
Spo, man,
he
I've
gets all the
never
credit.
that guy a warrior. That guy a warrior. Honestly, I'll be so real. If Miami ended up winning that thing somehow in 7, I was gonna give Finals MVP Eric Spoelstra. I'm sorry. There's no like that. If he somehow managed to win this one, like this year alone could have taken him to the Hall of Fame. This single individual playoff run, banner, poster, statue, give him whatever you want. Give him ownership of the team. Pay him 100 a year. I don't care. Like fattest coaching contract in the history of coaches to date.
I mean, think
Wow.
about it, right? I remember watching that playing game versus the Hawks, seeing them lose and then saying they're done. They're done for. They're not doing anything this season. And then here we are, literally 2.5 months later, and they just finished yesterday. That's
Yeah, yeah. Oh, by the way, like we made the finals.
literally as the eighth seed,
That's
beat
crazy.
beat the Bucks. Giannis was injured, yes, but they beat the Bucks, right? Beat a Knicks team
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
still higher seeded and better than them throughout the season. Held
Facts.
off the Celtics, and then lost to the best team in basketball throughout the year. I mean,
What can you do, man?
yeah,
What more can you see? And that's the thing. Like, if Spo didn't have, I think his like credibility and like the I guess resume that he had going into this, like everyone knew already about like no one questioned Eric, right? Like that, everyone knew who he was going into this. If he didn't have all that and just had this playoff run, and let's say like a team got impatient, like, oh, we need to fire him. We need to move a different direction. You're not doing it for us. And they'd fire his ass. And then they'd look to someone like Doc Rivers. They'd be like, no, this guy can get us over the top. Look, I'm like, this is what I'm saying. Like, Doc Rivers gets all these opportunities, right? Goes to all these different
yeah.
teams. He thinks somehow like Doc is the Messiah and he's gonna like get these players over the edge because he won one ring. Eric Spoelstra, may I remind you, had to deal with Kyle Lowry, a 37-year-old point guard handling the load. Cody Zeller, who I've never seen someone look like they don't belong playing basketball so much in my entire life. Like Cody, like we might have to explore some new career options. Like basketball might not be doing it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know how this was possible. I don't know what. But
He just
anyway,
took it.
just low key, like Zoom. If you're watching this, like give my boy free premium. That's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just to round this out, like Eric Spoelstra is like that entire Heat. Like I'm telling you, I don't think they build basketball players in that facility down in South Beach. They build soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay, like what they've been through, I can only imagine like Marines don't have to go through that type of intense training. Like they mentally, for spiritually, having to dig deep and find yourself. I've seen they make cyborgs. Like Struce for, his up and down season, his up and down, playoffs and even final series.
Yeah.
That guy's a cyborg. Like
Yeah.
the way they got here is because they have supreme confidence all the time, no matter what. If they have a shot, they're gonna let it fly, and they're gonna have, and the entire team is gonna cuss you out all the way back to the sideline, all the way in practice, all the way back in training camp. If you pass up an open shot and if you're indecisive, they're gonna be like, "F you, we're gonna get someone that isn't too small for the moment." They build super soldiers, man. Like this is stuff that I've never seen a team like. Granted, I know they lost, and I'm gonna wave this 305 flag around,
Yeah.
but I've never seen a team more resilient than that, like ever. To be honest with you, maybe 3-1 Cleveland, and that was mainly just LeBron and Kyrie. But
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this
And
before.
3-1 Cleveland was literally for 3 games. I mean, this was literally the entire playoff run, right? From the moment they got the eighth seed to now. They kept fighting throughout. When Boston came back in game 7 at home as the higher seed, favorite starting the series, they could have easily crumbled. They could have lost that, blown the 3-0 lead and been done. But they
And
didn't.
been one of the biggest That's the thing, right? How do you even I was imagining I always put myself like watching sports for this long, you put yourself in these positions,
Yeah.
right? Like you're like, I'm not even close to like collegiate athlete, right?
Yeah.
But I put myself in the height of these like pressure cooker situations. If I'm me and I'm even half a contributor on that team, and I was up 3-0 and I'm lost game 6 at home off a buzzer beater putback. And I'm going back to my opponent's home crowd. Game 7, with every single thing telling me, if you lose this, you are the biggest laughing stock in the history of this sports in the entire country. And then you just go out and casually win by 30. None of like everyone who was like, oh, like, and then granted, like, was Denver the better team going to the finals? Yes. People were like, oh, don't worry, like Denver in 6, Denver in 5, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
They're a better team. That's fine. But I was like, and I get that, and I get a lot of predictions came true. But when people ask me, like, what do you think? I'm like, dude, I would love to apply logic and reason. I'd love to. But this Miami Heat team goes against all logic, all reason, everything I've ever known about basketball. They just say, nah, to hell with that. Like, after you. Like, so how, like, I just don't know. I don't know. What is Heat culture? Heck, do you know what Heat culture is, honestly?
I don't know. They literally just
Can
take.
I have some?
Yeah, it's actually incredible. And I know, as you were saying, right? Nuggets, they won, they were expected to win. But also, if we really think about it, it was probably the first series that was like a really like there was going into it, there was really nothing the Heat could do. If you really think about it. I know this is in hindsight 2020, right? But
Facts.
they have nobody to handle Jokic, okay? They're completely out.
Zeller.
Like Bam Adebayo is 6'9", bro. Jokic is 7 foot, probably got like
Try.
30, 45 pounds on him. I mean, come
Okay,
on now. He can't do anything, right? And they still go out there. They put up a fight in that fourth quarter, game 1. They win game 2. Game 3, game 4, it's tough, it's close. But I mean, they're doing everything they can. I felt that they did that, right? I think they put it all out there. And yes, it wasn't close in some situations. They lost to game 5, which they probably honestly could have won. Denver was kind of handing it to them at some points, but I give them all the credit. Like I can't speak down on Miami.
That's the thing, man. And that's the thing. Like, and I know what's gonna hurt about this the most. And the internet, listen, for as many great memes as we have, for as much as I love, Twitter sometimes can be literally like better than some stand-up comedians. That's fine. But what hurts the most is like they're just gonna like naturally all anyone who doesn't win, they're just gonna get clowned. They're gonna have memes made about him. Playoff Jimmy, they're gonna clown him for being, oh, what happened to Jimmy Buckets? What happened? Big face coffee, like maybe you should have focused more on playing, whatever, instead of
Yeah.
your, affogato, which by the way, I've actually tried at a apparently his brand, Big Face, has a deal with Van Leeuwen's, like the ice cream brand,
Yeah.
and they have this affogato flavor. Wow, dude, I'm
That
not even a spokesperson. Like Loki, if they're trying to sponsor, like holler at us. But wow, like one of the greatest ice creams I think I've ever consumed ever. Complete side note though, if you have the chance to try it, Van Leeuwen's Big Face affogato, very good.
I'll try it. I'll
But
definitely.
it's just sad, man.
Yeah. I mean, okay, here's the question though. Here's kind of the principal question that goes off of this. What is Jimmy Butler's legacy? Like, where does he stand after all this? Like, it's honestly so confusing to me. And I'm not even trying to say it in like a joking way, but I genuinely have no idea where to put Jimmy Butler in my all-time lists. Because like we think about it, and it just I'm just like I don't know because he doesn't get the regular season awards that often because he just doesn't play as well as he doesn't. Like if he played how he did in the playoffs, he would be all NBA first team probably a few times in his career. He would be in that MVP discussion consistently. All these things, but he doesn't. He always turns it up in the playoffs when it matters most, right? But then in the playoffs, even in the playoffs, right? He doesn't have any rings, unfortunately. He doesn't have any accolades like that. And I just like I don't know what to like. I know he's a great, phenomenal all-time player, but I have no idea
Mhm.
what to do with him and his legacy as of right now.
It's such a good, I don't know, it's such a like interesting thing to think about because at the same time, the same reason I want to blow up at Devin Booker and say, you haven't done shit, my friend. Like don't talk to me like MB. Don't talk to me like even scrubs like Carl Towns. Like I'm done with that guy, bro. That guy is a guard in a center's body. Like I'm through with Carl Towns. But with Jimmy Butler, right? Like I don't know. And granted, I'm sure part of it's like the whole personality. Everyone's like it's so hard for people to almost like not even it's not even as deep as like disrespecting him as a player, right? But they see how much this guy literally grinds.
Yeah.
Like he literally, I've seen this guy like just even I guess kind of like how Jokic and like the best players in the world when everything is stacked against them and when their team just needs offense and when their team just needs a bucket or when a team just is like move out the way like I got this. Like I'm literally not gonna let this team lose this game. Jimmy Butler this playoff series had more of those than like I can count, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
even as a team, but it boggles my mind because like I look back and if you really want to look at the finals, like I hate to say this, like I really do. And even he was coming alive that fourth quarter yesterday. He had some bad games, dude,
Yeah.
which is tough. Like if anything, people are like, oh, this Miami team isn't talented enough. Like that's fine, but you know, you can only ask so much out of like if Gabe, Max, Duncan, like Bam had a great finals, if you
Yeah.
really think about it. Like that
Yeah.
guy played his ass off. But how much and even Jeff Van Gundy pointed to this like yesterday's game during the broadcast, like how much can you really rely on like all your complementary pieces
Yeah.
when Jimmy Butler for the most part had like single digits going into the fourth?
And it's
I
so
don't know
tough
what to make of
too.
this.
It's so tough because okay, eight seed made the finals, but like I don't know, when you look back in that after he retires, you're gonna be like, yeah, he did that, but there's nothing to show for it technically. You know what I mean? And that's the part that I mean, there's gonna be a lot of nuance that's gonna be lost because he doesn't have the
There's always that's the thing, right? Like I'm so glad you brought that up actually, because what what do sports media and nuance have in common? Nothing. Because sports media hates nuance. They hate having to explain themselves. Even I'm guilty of sometimes being like, no, F off, you have no rings. Or like, no, F off, you lost. You're like,
Yeah,
just because it's funny or just because it's entertaining, right?
yeah.
That's such a good point actually you bring up. But yeah,
Because
all
okay,
me for nothing.
you saw his Hall of Fame comments, right? About, I don't really
I
care if he
did,
gets it or
yeah.
not, kind of dismissing it. I mean, I don't know. Does he make it? Does he not? It's like at this point, like I can see the case, but I can also see the case against it, and it's like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's just because at this point, like, granted, it's almost like we built, like, the thing is, here's the thing, and sports media has to eat its own crow. Sports media made, like, realistically, who made playoff Jimmy? Like, who, like, I understand he did the perform, but who made, like, someone to be like, or, like, I still don't know how to evaluate this guy. Like, is he bigger than like what we've made him? Like, have we made him bigger than he actually is? Like, have you considered like? But then I tell myself, I'm like, wait, dude, this guy put up 47 or 50. This guy went to Milwaukee and said, gave him two middle fingers and said, nah, you're not winning today.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. What do I make of this? Every big shot, this guy would shoot like garbage in the regular season, and this guy would be a below 30% 3-point shooter. Every big three, splash in your face. No business going in. Oh, is Jimmy time? Let me just cash this real quick. It didn't make an ounce of sense. He made every right pass. He'd be a dog on defense, but then at sometimes, like even during this final series, like he looked a little lost. There were times even in transition, like he got the ball stripped away, which I was like, wow, this is very un-Jimmy like. So what I have no idea how to evaluate someone who has sometimes I've literally looked like Michael Jordan and at times looked like he's like okay.
Yeah, I don't know because I also I don't want to be I don't want to go there and make the point, oh, Jimmy Butler, he didn't if he showed out like how he did versus Milwaukee, they would have won the series. He didn't do enough. He didn't because I have to give the credit to the Denver Nuggets. I have to say, they are a great team. They're not just gonna lose because Jimmy Butler starts turning up, right? They have great play. Like so I don't want to just go to that point immediately and just say, "Oh, Jimmy didn't do enough." I think Jimmy just had he didn't have the best series. I think he just had a good series, maybe even okay. Like,
I
you know,
guess.
I
But it's tough, right? Like it's tough when that guy's like because I look because if you watch game five, right? Like
yeah.
there were times where granted, like Denver was turning the ball over like crazy. There was plenty of opportunities, and here's the thing: like there were plenty of opportunities and open 3-point shots and just open shots in general for Miami to make.
Yeah.
But at sometimes on offense, like dude, like I'm watching these guys and it's like, who do you turn to, low? Because Bam was eating, Bam was trying his best. Granted, he's still for whatever reason like finishing at the rim, like that's sometimes he threw it at the backboard and then he like miss the rim entirely. And I'm like, dude, like, how did you actually do that? But when you don't have like, when that's like literally your best player, and when your best player is playing like worse than like when he's creating less opportunities and less shots and looks lost out there more than Gabe Vincent, I'm saying to myself, like, well, of course you can't win. Like, how are you supposed? Like, who does the ball go to when I need a bucket?
Exactly. And then literally what happened, right? Scored 9 straight points, made those threes, got the free, and I was like, oh my God, he's back.
Like,
It's
why did
him.
this take
He's
so
gonna win this
long?
game. They're going to game six. It's going to
I
happen.
was praying, bro.
I
Didn't
mean,
happen.
so I don't know. It's just tough. It's just tough for someone like him because he's turned up in the right moments enough times to where I'm like, he's valid. He's him.
He is.
But then he's also had those moments where it's like, come on, Jimmy, give us something
It's
more.
like that. That's the thing, and it's like it's these times of like holding him. Okay, like if you really think about it, even when they went down three, right? Who had the ball? Drove middle like he always does into the teeth, gets 2 feet in the paint, picks up his dribble, tries to keep his pivot, looks around, and makes one of the most dog shit passes of all time just to get it stolen by KCP to a guy who to Duncan who wasn't even open, who was smothered, and that's essentially ball game. It's Jimmy. Like if you think of it like that, any play would have been better, right? Than like what the decision he decided to make. And it's like, why did you pick up your dribble then? He like was hesitant and like not take like he didn't take the mid ranges that they were giving him, and he was not shooting them nearly as efficiently. I don't know if his listen. I don't want to make the whole injury excuses. I don't know if
Oh
his
yeah.
body is just broken down at this point. I don't know what energy he could possibly have left. But there were times in that game I look at Jimmy, I'm like, dude, like you need to play like you're supposed to, low key. But I don't know. I don't know how to evaluate this guy, man.
Yeah. And but also I do one point I also do want to make in general is that Miami kind of right, they played a really great first round, solid, very good second round, took care of business, and then 3-0, great series. They're destroying Boston. But if you look at from when they were up 3-0 to the end of the season, they lost 7 of 9 games. They only won 2 games and lost 7, right? So it's like maybe they were just trending back to what they were a little bit. You know what I mean? At the
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like it's really tough because also Boston is a top seed. They're supposed to be good. Nuggets speak for themselves, so maybe it's just harder opponents also. But there's a lot of things to think about there. I feel like I need to see Jimmy either like have a playoff run, like just like a phenomenal top to bottom playoff run, and I'll be like, okay, you're good, you got it. Like take it all. Like, or I need to see him like I don't know. It's there. I can't make a decision right now. I need to give him a little more time.
And that's the thing. Like I want it. Like at the end of the day, if when the Jimmy Butler ring happens, and if he's Finals MVP, and he is the engine to that train, he is the engine behind everything. Then I think like any doubts or any questions, like that's out the window. And but I'm worried like what's gonna continue to happen is like, listen, I understand this Miami Heat culture. I understand like all these other things. I understand that you're trying to like they aren't undrafted players to us. Like you can only like if the whole logic I heard behind like how different like last season was, like when they were the number one seed in the East versus like squeaking into the playoffs, like how different those two regular seasons were, is kind of almost like to your point, the law of averages has to somehow kick in its own way. Like
Yeah,
sometimes undrafted players and like players of this caliber, yeah, can play out of their mind. They can have like really great moments. But at some point, like they're gonna show like granted, the player development crazy, like these guys are real solidified NBA players. They're real contributors, right?
yeah,
But at some point, if you don't necessarily have like everything built the same, if you don't have it built like it's supposed to be, they were smaller, they weren't necessarily like as athletic. They purely you can't have all of this and not have the size. Because once you like if you're expected for Bam to do all this and contribute at least like 20 and 12, 24 and 14 or whatever it was,
yeah.
you're just like there's no chance like there's you don't have the bodies to literally win. And then if I'm and then dumbasses like me are asking myself, oh well like did Jimmy do enough? Like what if you give Jimmy a team? Oh like what if you give him like build him around pieces of like the Miami Heat don't actually have like a small forward.
Wait, they
They
really
don't
don't.
actually
They don't
have
have a
like
set. They don't have a center either. Like Bam Adebayo is a center, but like he's 6'9". Okay.
that's what I'm saying. Like name me a young athletic contributing wing.
Yeah. Wait. They literally
And
went
back up.
Duncan Robinson at the small forward.
That's what I'm saying. And like Dunk, listen, salute to Duncan. Talk about an actual warrior coming from literally the depths of hell out of the mud in
Yeah.
order to like revitalize his career. I'm all for it. But like, he can't be like your wing. Like he can't be like your man. Like that's the thing. Like once you get rid of Bam, I got old as dirt, gray beard Kevin Love who can't move. He gave me everything, but that guy's like an eighth, ninth guy, realistically. Maybe like he's giving you good minutes, but like he's a shooter, dude. At this point, yeah, he can give some low post. Zeller, how is Zeller still on the team? Like this roster, realistically, like it wasn't possible to do what they did. So I just want Jimmy to get the roster almost that he deserves. Kind of like what happened with the Lakers. Like, give this team a roster. Oh, by the way, second best record or best record since All-Star break. Like,
Yeah.
give them some help.
And
I
maybe,
don't know.
yeah, and I mean, we can kind of get into that, just wrap it up. But I don't, what do you think they should do this summer? I mean, I'm thinking there's a lot of Dame rumors, but I don't think they should get Dame. Dame doesn't solve any of the problems that they had during the season, right? They need size, they need length. They don't have either right now. So I'm thinking like if you want, I think you gotta have some. I don't even know who's on the market. I'm gonna go look at that later. For you gotta you gotta sign someone over seventh, some defensive anchor. Like you just need that. Like Ben
I
Adebayo is
couldn't
getting
agree more.
cooked, absolutely cooked. Cody Zeller, Kevin Love, all just cooked on the offense by Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon. Literally every game. So
Nah,
get some size there, and then I don't know, maybe like go after Jaylen Brown. I mean, because he's even bigger than Duncan Robinson. Put him at the small. No.
maybe, and that would like it would make him like provide him youth, like a legitimate guy who can hunt his own shot, a guy who's like great rebounder for his size, lock up defensively. Yeah, it'd be a good piece. It's like I don't know, man. Honestly, and here's the thing, as I fan out this Uno deck in my hands, if I could pick out, this is like a card of all NBA players. I have my top 25 in here. I could pull out this one card. This would be Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Okay, there's
Like,
no
yeah, there's no way.
there's just no
But like,
way. There's
but
like
like realistically, if there was a way to get Giannis, wow, like that could solve potentially every problem you ever had. If you think about it, like having that one guy and then maybe just bolstering up with a competent, like true backup center who can still contribute. It's like, maybe like a Clint Capella esque player, and then
yeah.
just getting like securing some kind of like athletic wing who's like a legitimate scorer. Which, granted, I even keep forgetting Tyler's still on the team. I guess he's supposed to be that, but like, Lord
Tyler's still
knows
small. I mean, he's not.
Tyler's he's getting cooked. Like defensively, that guy's getting cooked.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Jaylen Brown piece might actually be very helpful. I don't know. I don't know what's going. I think Jaylen Brown. There's a chance that guy doesn't even play basketball anymore. There's rumors swirling around of like, maybe like this guy has too many interests outside of hoop. Like the guy's too much of a thinker. Which respect to you thinking your career outside of the game, but I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see it. We're gonna see. There's actually so much stuff that's gonna happen this offseason. And I'm definitely gonna have a podcast on that. We're gonna talk about that, get into that
Say
stuff for
less.
sure.
Say less.
But I think overall it was a really entertaining season. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Lakers turnaround. I really enjoyed the Miami Heat underdog story. I liked the Kings finally getting some flowers. I like the Suns going down per usual. I like the Sixers going down per usual. I like the Celtics going down. I mean, I enjoyed this season a lot, and I mean, I was really happy with it.
Me too, man. I think no, it was a good basketball season. It was a bunch of that's the thing. Like, I don't know if there's ever been this many mini narratives for this many teams this wide open. Like, granted, in true sports media fashion, this might be too early, but it's never too early for predictions.
That's true.
So that being said, Ek, if I had to ask you, if you had to bet some money, who do you think has a chance to win next year?
Next year?
Thoughts?
All right. All,
Thoughts?
all I'm
Early
saying,
predictions?
all I'm saying is this: Milwaukee Bucks, they got it. Giannis is coming
Wow.
back and he's turning up. Okay,
Revenge tour. You think it's
revenge
a
tour
revenge
for
tour?
sure,
Wow.
for sure. If he doesn't get injured, the Bucks got it, in my opinion.
The thing is, I want to agree with you. And I'm glad that at least Giannis has his ring. So, like, there's at least credibility there, and there's credibility to this Bucks team. But they're aging. They're
That's
aging fast, right? And like, if they don't, you're right. If they don't get a ring next year, year after that, maybe. I don't know, man. Like, I think the patience is running out. But I like where your head's at. But are the Bucks just another case of the Clippers, the Sixers, teams that they have so much success, season favorites, like even Phoenix, right, when they were the number one seed, like, are they just going to be this really good team that should win all these games and then fumble when the time is right? I
I
don't
feel
know.
just because the Bucks they did it, I think they can do it again. It's the same core. Granted, they're older, and I think they'll make some moves during the off season to handle that a little bit. And also, I think the fact that they have a new coach should change some things.
My
Um,
dad, yeah, it was time for Bud to get the hell out of there, honestly.
like he did his thing, he was good, but then that 3 point
Oh
defense
my
is so
God.
bad. No, like actually,
Yeah, dude, like they're just listen, man, I could have like 2021, dude, like I could have got Giannis a ring, to be honest with you. Like I would just be like, yo, so like run these things and go win. And that's what he did. Like I think Budenholzer, I don't know, that guy is another has some Doc Riveritis with him, to be honest with you. But I like the prediction.
who are you going
Am
with?
I gonna go the same? Do I think the Milwaukee Bucks take it? Like I have to see it. Like I have to see Giannis have want smoke with everybody. I need to see him angry. I need to see him will every single like game he has. Like yo, we're not losing this thing. Come playoff time, come see me. Like I need him to low key have his playoff Jimmy type. He's like playoff run.
Yeah, I mean,
But you
but
know what?
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna have to take the Denver Nuggets to run it back. Okay.
See, I was gonna say that, and I really like that take because Jokic, Murray, great, but actually, I don't know their situation with their free agents, but I just feel like what's gonna happen is a bunch of guys are gonna get a bunch of big deals and leave. I feel like that's what happens.
Mm,
Like in a
mm.
lot of these championship situations, especially when the guys are like more unknown or like on smaller deals, like Aaron Gordon is on one of those. Bruce Brown is on one of those. KCP probably is one of the definitely on one of those too. Like I feel like some of those guys are gonna leave for whatever
And
reason,
Lord
and
and
like
Lord
that'll
knows
mess up.
how
You know what I
big.
mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that'll like
yeah,
stop you from winning. But if it's the same team, then I can. That's like the easy pick right now. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's like yeah. You know what I mean?
because it's just a question of if they're hungry enough, and if the thing here's the thing, like realistically, the same preparation that goes into like an NBA offseason, like if you don't like uh have this championship go to their head, if they come in with the same hunger, like Jamal Murray's like only gonna get better.
Oh yeah.
Like he's not gonna get worse, like he's if anything, he's gonna have a much better regular season. And then like Michael Porter's hopefully, as long as his head hasn't become the size of Denver, Colorado, like he probably gonna get better. Like there's only like they're set up in such a way that like if people continue to buy in and they're as unselfish as their unselfish superstar, if they all just think like Jokic, I don't see a team necessarily being like, yeah, we got him. We got Denver. And God forbid the Warriors get even close. They
No.
still think they have a chance. God.
Wait. We're
I'm
gonna
not
we're gonna we're gonna see it. We're gonna see it real soon. But I don't want to see any talk of the Lakers, of the Warriors, of the Suns, Sixers. None of those teams should be in the discussion for anything next season. I don't care what they do. If their core is all the same, nothing is changing in my opinion for any of them.
nothing. pack it up and leave, bro. Like
And I don't care if the
I'm not
Lakers
having
get
any of this.
Kyrie, Chris Paul, whatever. Chris Paul goes to the Warriors. I don't. It doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter.
No, yeah. And I mean, listen, as me as a delusional LeBron supporter, till the day I die, I'm gonna pray to God that somehow, some way, by the basketball gods, that somehow this Laker team can just get lucky and win his fifth, and then I can finally die a happy basketball fan. But until then, I don't know. It's gonna be hard to beat these Nuggets, man. And Milwaukee, if this Giannis revenge tour is
Is
anywhere
real.
to where I think it's gonna be, especially you saw the Instagram post.
That's
I know you
exactly
saw.
what's getting me. It's the Instagram. It's the Instagram. They're actually
Yeah,
he's going crazy on Instagram.
I saw that post. I was like, oh no, like we're not safe here. Like he's coming for blood. Like I hope that guy just absolutely dogs everybody and gets number two. Which that'd be totally cool with me.
Yeah, I mean, a Denver Nuggets Milwaukee Bucks final would just sound
Wow,
insane to me.
that'd be crazy. The battle of the small markets for me. Great teams though, so I
Yeah,
can't complain.
yeah. So always a good time for way too early predictions. We'll see what
Always,
happens. You never know with this league. You actually never
never
know.
know.
Like you literally like for all we know, LeBron might not even be on the Lakers midway through the season. Like you never know in this league with the stuff that goes on.
Who
So
knows, man? Kevin could get traded to an entirely new team. His
literally,
millionth team in 2 seasons. Like I'm tired of this guy.
yeah. But that was an absolutely incredible podcast. It's good to be back doing the show as usual. I'm gonna get
Thank
on
you for
the Instagram
having me,
post
sir.
too. Content's gonna be
Absolutely.
coming out. But yeah, and we're definitely gonna have so much stuff because free agency, I know it's gonna go crazy. I already know. Oh, one other thing. The John Morant suspension too is gonna
Ah, how did we miss that, yo? No, honestly, like we might just honestly, I think it's developing right now, and
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
like
it's
we're
still.
gonna have to talk about that at some point.
Oh, that's definitely yeah. The future pod episode. Oh my god!
There's just too much.
Like we might have to spend like heck, bro. Like we might have to just like this might it might have to call it a message to Ja, and maybe we're lucky enough. Maybe he can get this, see our sentiments, see that we just want what's best for him, and Loki is gonna have to hear some hard truths. That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah. But thank you so much as always. Incredible
Thank you for
podcast.
having me, yo. Always fun
Good to
talking
be
with you,
back.
yo.
And I'm excited. I'm excited for what's going.
Absolutely. Catch you.